Hello everyone, it's Diane. I'm going to go through these journals with you today as a final flip through, although I still have a couple finishing touches to do, but the road work outside my house is silent for now. They're gone for the day and it's still daylight, so I'm going to do this video right now. The day you see this video, these journals will be in my shop at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's just take a look. These were both constructed with vintage composition book covers, so that they are very sturdy covers, but they're cardstock. They're not like a book cover. So when I Mod Podged on them, they curved, so they kind of splay out a little bit. It's slight, but you can see it, and I want you to be aware of it. So it kind of dips down and then up, but it's very slight. So I'm going to put this back on. I used a digital kit from Ephemera for Days. I always have to stop and think about the name of that shop. Ephemera for Days, and it's called Rainbow Floral Grunge. There's also a kit in that shop called Rainbow Grunge without the flowers, and that's really cool looking too. So I printed that once on photo paper because I got photo paper at the flea market and I wanted to try something vibrant on it. So the pages that are used as pages in the book are on photo paper, and then I had another set printed on my regular paper that I used for journals, and I tore that up and cut it up and used it to embellish the book. So because of the black and white covers and then the vibrant colors, I just decided to go with a lot of black and white fashion images. There are also some color images, but I kind of, if it was on a colored background, I used black and white, and if it was on a neutral background, I used colors. So these two ladies are from the 70s, and they were cut out of a Vogue sewing pattern catalog, just the kind that you would buy and take home, not the counter book. And I think that's what they came out of. Anyway, they're from the 70s, I think. And I had to make them stand out from this black and white cover, so I added these colored pieces on it. I made a patchwork fabric spine. I just took these pieces and pieced them all together. And then for the closure, I used my vintage buckles, and I didn't know what to do with the ones that were wider than my ribbons, my elastic ribbons that I have. So then I came up with this. I thought if I attach a piece of the ribbon to the back of a regular ribbon, piece of elastic, that should work. Now these ended up being a little too tight or loose, so I'm gonna snip it and tighten it up. I'll re-sew it and tighten it up so it won't be quite so loose, but I want to give you a little room so that you can add things to the journals. So let me take this off. I love this bright yellow slide. They're not really buckles, they're just slides. And now you can get a look at the patchwork spine, and then on the back I added a black and white image on each one. This is an ad for gloves. So there's the glossy paper, the photo paper, and you can write on the back. I used coffee dyed paper, and I stamped words on the coffee dyed papers. I added a ruffle, a sari silk ruffle. I sewed the scrapbook papers together to make them wide enough. And I did a lot of pockets. I did 7 videos leading up to this one, so I'm not going to go into detail about how I made everything unless I didn't do it on a video. So you can go back and watch whatever videos you want to watch. But all of these lady images are vintage, out of vintage magazines. So here's some colored paper. It was dyed, and this is a strip from the paper, the digital paper that I cut up and I just tucked in all these little tags that I die cut and a playing card. So I glued it with glue here, so it's 3 sections on this one. They're not all like that. This is just a digital flower that I glued on. I added some colored trims to the edges of some of the pages. I wanted to add a couple more pages, but I didn't do a thing to them. So I added this green ledger, and then I added a music sheet. I had these music sheets that don't have any notes on them, so I decided to add music sheets that do have notes. This is the paper that I dyed and sprayed, as you would have seen in my video. I didn't do it on video, but I talked about it. And I did this, it's a watercolor stamping technique, and there's a video for that. And this is a page from the composition book itself. I love how crinkly it is. This is also the watercolor stamping. This is a very kind of a fragile music paper, so I put reinforcement on the fold. I left some pages for you to decorate, like this and this. There's lots of writing space. These are big pages. I printed digital envelopes and I just glued them shut. I'm just going to make sure that the glue didn't stick to the back of the envelope. I stenciled inside the envelope. Isn't that paper gorgeous? Here is a tuck spot, and I added some pages from a vintage beauty book from the 70s, 1971, and a score sheet, bridge score sheet. I just paper clipped this Hills Brothers coffee coaster on there for you to do what you want with. Some more stamping. I just made a little cluster with some of the tags that I had die cut and little scraps that I had laying around. And I used a couple of my vintage stencils. There's another bridge score sheet and just part of a very sturdy cardstock, pattern cardstock. You can decorate that however you'd like to, right on the back. I love this trim. I used a vellum bag here in pink and just glued these ladies on with a scrap of the digital paper. And this was the inside of a greeting card, a vintage greeting card. I had used the front of it for something and I saved this. I love this paper. So I just added a tab to it and put it in there. And it's open. This is open back here. So you can tuck something back there. Fold up a paper to write on. She leaves a sparkle wherever she goes. This is a double pocket, and I showed this on a video. Showed the tags on a video, and this is the one that has this is a vintage netting that came off of a vintage hat. So I just added a little piece of that. And this hat didn't come on her. She had a flat head because she was in a square. So I didn't want her to have a flat head, so I cut this off another magazine lady and glued it on there and added the veil. And this is from a 70s book, sewing book. She goes over here. Added some pom-poms to this one, colorful pom-poms. Another piece of the digital paper, and this is another digital set, just some folk art, colorful flowers. This came out of a book, and this is just a dyed grid card. It has graph on it. Some red lace there. I folded up this music paper for a pocket and just added some decorations. This is an art instruction book page. This is pretty lace here, or trim. Okay, the glue stuck in the corner there, but it's free now. This is a vintage magazine lady. I glued her to cardstock and made her a tuck spot, and I put in a page of the blue stamps and just a yellow index card. I added this Daisy hair lotion label. I had 2 of those, so each book got one. I love them. Here's another of the clusters, and I stamped vintage style on it. Love this piece of trim. I had 1 piece of it and I cut it in half and used it in both journals. This is not open behind it, but I put this tag inside and I stamped a name, a signature there from Sam Poole's, one of her signatures from the past sets. Mary Forsyth, it says. This page, I had to have 1 page that wasn't on the printer, on the photo paper. So this is the one, but it's still gorgeous. You hardly even notice that it's not as spectacular as this because it still prints very brightly and vividly. Kind words never fade. I used a piece of the digital paper, the colorful digital paper, behind this die cut. I did 2 pockets in each journal like that. Another flower from a book. It would be hard to write on this. It's a little textured and a little bit shimmery, but you can write on the back and add a photo or something there. So this is one of the things I have to do. Just cut out between her body and her arm and glue it down. And then put it back in here. And there's another label, vintage label. This is Berger's Garden Flower and Oriental Fragrance. Oh, we don't want 2 of them there. Another cluster, just with some stuff I had, leftover pieces. And I talked about this in a video the other day, and it was, well, I guess just yesterday. I made a copy of a linen that I had, and then I added the blue cardstock behind it. Now, I have to tell you, on this one, I had just glued this piece down, and I have to do it again. And when I stuck it in the pocket, maybe you noticed on the video, but I didn't notice till I took a picture of it and noticed that this was sticking down over here. So when I slid it in the pocket, this part stayed on the outside and the glue was still wet. So I managed to get it off, but it took some of the paper from that shoe. And I need you to be aware of that. So anyway, this is the tag that I made to go in that pocket. And this is a shimmery, glittery, it's not like glitter. It's more shimmery. It doesn't have glitter on it, but it's vellum, pink and purple. And then there is a library pocket on the back with 2 of the papers inside, and I will put my signature on them, on one of them. I'm just going to give them a lady's name. I looked up popular names in the 40s and 50s, and Mary kept popping up on the top of the list. So this one is called Mary. And another popular name was Nancy. So was Barbara. But I have a sister named Barbara. So if I name it Barbara, then Annette will be jealous. Not that they would even know. They might. So anyway, that was just a joke. She wouldn't be jealous. So here's the other one, and this one is Nancy. So Mary and Nancy. And for this one, I used the silk, or I guess it's rayon. It's a double seam binding. It would open up, so it was folded and pressed. So I sewed it closed and then added the blue. And this one I also have to make it tighter. And I added this gloved hand holding a shoe on the back. I used black and white on the back just so it would just be subtle. Just a fun little extra bonus image. Did I tell you I used 3 different colors of the wax thread? This is a pink and a blue and a light orange. This one is only divided into 2 sections, but it has the card. Same things tucked inside. This one has a stamp from Kathy Holden. It says inspected by. And there's my stencil number. There's a bridge score sheet in there. Here is the inside of another greeting card, and I love that. But I had already made this tag. I forgot I was going to do a greeting card page in there. And I had already made this one. I just wrapped another linen piece that I had printed around that. Added a scrap of lace. So I just tucked this in. You can write on that. It gets caught on something. Oh, I think it's this at the top, actually. Once you get that past, it goes down. Sorry. Some more blue stamps and a yellow index card. Another hair lotion label. Double pocket here. Oh, I've got to put something in there. I think that's where, I didn't know where to put this one tag, and I think that's where it was supposed to be. I just stuck it in a pocket, this one, because I know it wasn't in this pocket to begin with, but I didn't know where to put it. This is where it goes. There's a pocket here that you can add something to. Her foot was cut off because there was something, like there was another person down here and her head was on the foot. But I didn't want to waste that lady, so I just put some flowers at her feet. I didn't mention in the other book that this is a vintage foiled label for massage cream. And this is Berger's Lemon Vanishing Cream. Another linen that I had printed. It's a crochet piece, and I glued this lady on from a 1930s magazine. That's a real cutout from the magazine. And then you can flip it up. I folded the linen to make it fit, and then I just made a little journaling card to tuck in there. Another pocket with nothing in it. And the vellum pocket with the shoe. So as I said, when you see this video, these journals will be in my shop later that day, and it'll be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mary and Nancy, thank you so much. Those of you who stuck with me through all 7 videos plus the flip through, I appreciate it. And even if you just caught 1 or 2 or any number in there, I appreciate that also. I just appreciate anyone who takes the time to watch my videos. I'll be seeing you in the next video, and I hope that you are having a creative day. Bye-bye.